Hello and welcome to Mad Hatter News, where we discuss all the madness that's going on, and this is probably the only place that'll make sense, ironically enough. We have to talk about the brutal arrest of Senator Alex Padilla out of California when he tried to ask a question to the Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem.
You know, I've given a lot of speeches on this floor, and this is the least prepared but the most clear I will ever be. This is the stuff of dictatorships. It is actually happening. A United States senator was manhandled, shoved to the ground, and cuffed. He identified himself. I'm Senator Alex Padilla. That should be enough.
If you didn't see the footage of this event, I'm going to show it in just 1 second, but we need to discuss exactly what happened here. Kristi Noem is not an elected official. She is appointed by the president as the Department of Homeland Security Secretary. Alex Padilla is a senator elected by the people of California to represent them in the state of California. So Alex Padilla has a right to ask questions on the behalf of the people that he represents in order to get answers. What he was trying to ask is, why are they brutally taking children out of school and deporting them without telling their parents? Why are they taking parents and deporting them while the kids are in school? Why are they taking people off the streets who are citizens of the United States and detaining them, and then their families have to get an actual attorney to track down these minors to find them in the basement of buildings? Yes, this is happening with adults they don't know not being given food, water, or trips to the bathroom in days, to where they have soiled themselves, and then they wind up with scratches all over them. They have been assaulted. This is happening, and that's to citizens. They are just targeting people who look Hispanic because it's a racist thing. There are a lot of questions that the senator needs to ask the Department of Homeland Security Secretary, because she is behind a lot of this. And she's not an elected official. He is. Let's watch what happened.
We are not going away. We are staying here to liberate this city from the socialist and the burdensome leadership that this governor and that this mayor have placed on this country, and what they have tried to insert into this city. So I want to say thank you to every single person that has been able to do this. Also, I want to talk specifically to the rioters and to the politicians in Los Angeles.
Half a dozen violent criminals that you're rotating on your.
I also want to talk about specifically.
So then Senator Alex Padilla was dragged out and he was arrested in the next room.
On the ground. Hands behind your back. Hands behind your back.
If you get on my hands, go ahead, put me behind my back.
All right. Cool. One hand. Lay flat. Lay flat.
Other hand, sir. Other hand.
There's no recording allowed out here. I do not know. There's no recording allowed out here per FBI regs for the building.
When he's saying, I'm going to comply, I'm complying, they still shove him to the ground, they pin him down, and they put his hands behind his back and arrest him. And then they tell the other people who are filming them that they're not allowed to film in there. This is a press conference. Of course you're allowed to film. By the way, comment on this video. Let me know what you think about it. It does matter when you comment on YouTube. And we need to get the talking points going. We need to get the conversation going on topics like this. And I want to hear every side, really. So you saw where it started and you saw where it ended. But Kristi Noem is saying that he lunged at her. She's saying that he lunged at her. Senator Alex Padilla lunged at her, and she was scared for her life. She said this on Fox News just hours later. I'm sorry, where is the lunge? Now we need to ask the question. Are senators allowed to ask questions in press conferences like this? The answer is yes. However, they typically do need to tell people that they're going to start asking questions, because press conferences are usually just for press. So senators are not necessarily supposed to be asking questions in a space that is only meant for the press. While that is true, Kristi Noem could have very easily ordered those agents to stop the arrest, but she just kept going with her speech. She did not care what was happening to this senator. She let them take him away. She never answered his questions, and she never will. What is happening in the United States today is the precursor to Handmaid's Tale. We saw what happened in Handmaid's Tale, what was kind of leading up to Handmaid's Tale actually becoming full throttle Handmaid's Tale, and we're seeing it play out in front of our eyes. Now, can they say that technically Senator Alex Padilla should not have been asking questions in a press conference? Yes, but to brutally arrest him when he identified himself as a senator, that is wrong. Once a senator identifies themselves, that's when the arrest needs to stop. That's when they need to hold back and be like, oh, this is a very high elected official. They're not the president, but they are quite close in terms of being elected into a very, very high-ranking position in the government. So to arrest that person for asking questions on behalf of Californians, and he is one of 2 senators from California. There's only 2 people that can ask these questions, and he's one of them. To arrest this very high-ranking official, this is not a mayor, this is not a governor, this is a senator. A senator. To arrest him so brutally is insane.
This is a horrifying moment in our nation's history. Today, United States Senator Alex Padilla was violently removed from a public briefing for asking questions on behalf of the people he represents. People in California who deserve answers about the brutal crackdown on protesters. I've watched the video, as many of you have as well. Let me just describe what it shows. Officers pushed Senator Padilla backwards out of the room as he said the words, "I am Senator Padilla. I have questions for the secretary." He was then shoved to the ground. When the senator complied with the officers and went on his knees, he was forcibly pinned onto his stomach. He was ordered to put his hands behind his back. He can be heard on the video saying he is trying to comply with their orders. Officers then put handcuffs on the senator while he was lying on the ground. His staff was then told to stop recording the handcuffing. He was put in handcuffs for asking a simple question. He was put in handcuffs for doing his job as a United States Senator. He was put in handcuffs for standing up for the Constitution of the United States. He was put in handcuffs for representing the people of California. Now, if you're not yet convinced that President Trump and his administration are trying to suppress free speech, then just watch the video. Watch the video. If you are not yet convinced that President Trump and his administration are trying to undermine the foundations of our democracy, watch the video. If you are not yet convinced that President Trump and his administration are hell-bent on punishing people with differing opinions than those of the president, then watch the video.
This is just one example of many where senators have been denied access to detention centers, which they can be denied access, but usually they're allowed into ICE detention centers, and they want to see what's going on in there. They want to be able to report back to their states and say exactly how these people are being treated, because the reports are not good and people are concerned. They're not letting these senators in there. We are hearing horror stories about what is happening to kids and kids going missing, and no one seems to know where they are weeks later. These are minors. These are people with families. And as we know now, some are even citizens of the United States, and they are being targeted because they look Hispanic. You know what's really crazy about this? Even Handmaid's Tale wasn't racist. If you watch The Handmaid's Tale, which is completely fascist, it's a complete regime that has taken over the United States and changed the name to Gilead. Gilead is basically what the Heritage Foundation wants for our future. And the Heritage Foundation is a multi-million dollar organization that has been in the works for decades. It's been backed by presidents. Moms for Liberty is a part of this group. And this is kind of what they want for the future of America, is a Gilead, where everybody is just one man, one wife, and you keep having kids, no abortions. That is just the main goal. Have those kids, have those babies. That one man and that one wife, the woman stays at home and she's all cute and stuff, and the man takes care of business, and the woman doesn't say anything, and it's pretty brutal. But the crazy thing about Handmaid's Tale is that there's nothing racist that happened in Handmaid's Tale. Race was not even focused on at all. But in the United States, they are focusing on that. They are. Well, I do understand the talking point of the senator not asking these questions his turn and did not identify himself first before he started to ask the questions. At the same time, you cannot brutally just attack a senator, drag him out of a room after he identifies himself, scream at him, and pin him down, arrest him, and tell people to turn off their cameras because they're not allowed to do that. Yes, they are allowed to do that. Like, what are we turning into right now? Let me know what you think about this. Definitely like and subscribe if you want to see more of my videos. I'm posting now a lot more on here because I'm trying to get an algorithm. It's not really working though, but we'll see how it goes. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.